Hello, everybody. Thank you all for joining us today on today's Bellator 242 virtual media availability. We're thrilled to be returning back to action this Friday night with Bellator 242 Bandejas versus Pettis. The event airs live on Paramount Network at 10 p.m. Eastern and will simulcast live on DAZN. On today's virtual media availability, we will have 10 to 12-minute blocks with each of our main card competitors, Ricky Bandejas, Sergio Pettis, Jason Jackson, Jordan Mean, Aaron Pico, Solo Hatley Jr., Taiwan Claxton, and JJ Wilson. If you have a question for any of the fighters, please use either the raise hand button at the bottom of your screen or type your question in the chat or the Q&A functionality. When it is your turn to ask a question, you'll be asked to unmute your line and you'll be able to ask your question. If you have any issues, you can send me messages through the chat feature, and we will begin shortly with Solo Hatley Jr. All right, first question. Here you are for your Bellator debut against a known commodity in Aaron Pico. Does that add any pressure to this fight for you?
No. Well, it's actually not my debut. It's actually my second fight in Bellator. My debut was against Bolaños, but fighting Aaron, no, I'm not really feeling pressure so far. No.
What has your experience in the fight sphere been like thus far?
I have a lot of experience. As far as amateur and pro, this would be my 21st fight altogether. No, I kind of felt all the pressure and stuff on my first run with Bellator. So this being my second run, I'm controlling it a lot better. So, that's a lengthy answer, but there you go.
All right, our next question, we will go to the line of Steve Julian.
Okay.
My question for Solo Hatley is, your performance against Gaston Bolaños was impressive. The split decision may have surprised some people. How do you feel that fight prepared you to face an Olympic-level wrestler like Aaron Pico?
Well, definitely after the fight with Bolaños, I made a lot of mistakes in that fight. That fight should have been a finish. Should have been no split decision. It should have been a finish. So just like all my fights, whether I win or whether I lose, I try to learn something from each fight. As far as Aaron Pico, yeah, he's an Olympic level, wrestler. But at the end of the day, it's not a wrestling match; it's a fight. And I've trained with a lot of great wrestlers before, so fighting him, it's really not going to be nothing I haven't seen before. I need to be aware of it, but once again, it's a fight; it's not a wrestling match.
All right, thank you.
All right, our next question will go to Steven Morocco. Steven, your line is now live.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. So you were an LFA headliner, had a couple fights with them. It's a pretty well-known feeder league for the UFC. Why did you decide to go to Bellator?
Bellator has always been one of my favorite promotions. Because in my career, because I know majority of people, want to go to the UFC or whatever. My goal was either Bellator or the UFC, honestly, because I love Bellator. Like, a lot of people sleep on Bellator, but I think Bellator has as good of fighters, if not better fighters, than UFC. They've treated me wonderfully. Like, Bellator is a great promotion. I'd be happy. Like, I would honestly be happy if I finished my career out in Bellator, because I'm 23 now. I always told myself if I didn't make it to the big stage by the time I was 26, I was going to do something else. I'm very blessed that Bellator gave me the opportunity against Bolaños, and after I beat them, they signed me, and now they're giving me the opportunity to fight Aaron Pico. So yeah, I love Bellator.
Well, yeah, like you said, Gaston is somebody who had a lot of hype on him. He wasn't just like your average, sort of up and coming fighter. So do you feel like there's any sort of design in this? They're giving you Gaston, and now they're giving you Aaron, one of their most heavily hyped guys in their history.
Yeah, if you want to be honest, like, they were promoting Bolaños, they're promoting Aaron, on media and everything like that. They're sharing their videos and they're like mentioning me. But MMA has politics, so honestly, I know they're like just like they wanted Bolanos to win. I know they wanted Aaron Pico to win, but after I win, they have no choice but to start promoting me.
Yeah. Aaron has fallen short to some guys that people didn't expect him to lose to. Do you think there's any danger of him doing that again here?
Yeah, he's a real good fighter, but he has a very weak chin, and I do hit really hard. So I believe once I touch him a couple of times, he'll go out.
So you anticipate this is going to be a stand-up kind of fight?
Yeah, with him, his fight's been kind of weird because he either only boxes or only wrestles. He doesn't really put them together unless that's changed. And also, one reason he gets colonized because he leaves himself wide open a lot. Like he throws. Like sometimes he throws straight punches, but a lot of times, especially when he wants to throw bombs, he'll throw like wide punches, and that leaves him open to get countered. Another thing too is he likes to engage in brawls. Sometimes he wins them, sometimes he doesn't. Even in exchanges where he does get hit, I've seen him get rocked a lot of times. Like even when he wins, I've seen him get rocked. So I believe that's his weakness is his chin.
Hmm. And just one last one for me: Are you a full-time fighter at this point, or are you working a day job as well?
Well, kind of both. I mean, I have an overnight job. I do overnight caregiving. I don't do much. I mostly just stay with my clients. So like, I'm just like really on the couch all night. So like, I train 3 to 4 times a day. Starting from 8 a.m. all the way to 10 p.m. And then I go into work 11 p.m. to about 7 a.m. And like I said, I don't do nothing but just like lay on the couch. So if I'm sore from training, if I get hurt from fighting, like I'm not doing no hard labor.
Gotcha. Thank you very much.
No problem.
All right, our next question will come from Gene Morris with Newsday. Your line is now live.
Great. Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Perfect. Thanks. Okay. So yeah, I know Aaron is a guy that's been in there. All his fights have been pretty quick, mostly in the first round, a couple in the second round. Is this a fight where you're going to kind of approach anything differently and kind of come in and try and make a mark, especially against a guy that's as hyped as he is?
Well, in all my fights, I believe in fighting smart. I try not to, rush a lot of stuff. Because of course we have game plans and stuff, but a lot of times almost every time game plans go out the window as soon as the fight starts, especially when you're getting hit and punched and kicked and all that. So I usually just feel how my opponent's going. Just like, my last guy, who's a world-class striker. Even though I'm a good striker too, I'm not a world-class striker. So of course, go to where he's weak at. With Pico, he's a good striker. He's a great wrestler. With him, I'm gonna just have to kind of see how the fight goes, like see how he reacts to my movement, see his movement. Because I've been in there with guys who, weren't as fast as I thought they were, who didn't hit as hard as I thought they would. So I'm just gonna kind of just have to see how the fight goes.
Right. Thanks a lot.
All right, our next question will come from Michael Heck. Your line is now live.
Hey, Solon. Do you feel like you're flying under the radar here heading into this fight? Because you sort of alluded to it that they're playing a lot of Aaron videos. You're being mentioned a little bit here, but do you feel like you're flying under the radar? And if so, how do you like that feeling?
Yeah, definitely. Like they got me at like a 3% chance of winning. How do I like it? I would say it doesn't really. I don't really know how to feel about it, if you want to be honest. Like I said, I know they want him to win. I actually even saw the commercial on TV today. When they were promoting the fight, the Bellator fight. They mentioned the main event, and then they had Aaron Pico up there, and they're like the return of rising star Aaron Pico. And I expected them to say against Solo Hadley Jr., but they kind of just ended it right there. So when I saw that, I was like, well, wow, they really want this guy to win. So yeah, like I'm very under the radar, but once I win, people have no choice but to acknowledge me. That's how I feel about it.
And then the other question I have for you is the support that you get back home. I saw a photo that you posted on Instagram. There were a couple of bags saying good luck, Solo. Arkansas is proud. How does that make you feel knowing that even though you are flying under the radar, maybe on a national and a global sense and maybe a promotional sense, the people who know you well, you're not flying under the radar to them?
that has helped me like a tremendous amount because fighting, you get nerves and everything like that. And sometimes in training camps, you even have doubts, because sometimes, like, if I have a bad training camp, I'll doubt, is this really for me, or should I even be in Bellator, and stuff like that. And sometimes, like, I focus so much on what the other good dude is good at, I forget about, I'm good too. And the people back home, they remind me about that, like, they don't care who this dude is. They don't care what he has. They believe I can win. And I have certain mottos I live by in my life. And one is, if you don't believe in yourself, why should anybody else? And so, like, even when I'm feeling the nerves or whatever, like, everybody back home, they're behind me and supporting me. So it's like, they believe because they know very well who he is. Like, my wrestling coach and his team, they know very well who Aaron Pico is. Like, he's a legend in the wrestling world, and they still believe I'm gonna win this fight. And so it's like, if all my people believe it, why should I believe it? So yeah, them believing in me puts like it just kind of gives me like an energy boost type thing.
Thank you, Solo. All the best to you.
Thank you.
All right, and for our last question, we'll go to Joe McDonough. Your line is now live.
Hey, Solo. I'm sure you don't, but Pico is a minus 600 favorite in the Vegas odds. I mean, do you feel disrespected by that, or do you almost welcome that as a huge underdog and go shock the world on Saturday night?
I mean, not really disrespect. I mean, everybody knows him. Nobody really knows me. So it's like, of course he's gonna be that big of a favorite. No, nobody knows me. I haven't, made a name for myself yet. He's a real great fighter, but they've been hyping him up, before he even had a fight. Even though he's taking losses and stuff like that, like, he's the same age as me, but we came up differently. Like, he's been competing basically his whole life in like wrestling and some boxing, but I've been fighting my whole life. He's just now started MMA, and he has 8 fights. And like I said, before he even had a fight, they're promoting him as like the next superstar, this and that. He's won some, he's lost some, but he's still supposed to be the next big thing. And so, no, I don't feel disrespected because it's just common sense. Like this dude that the whole world knows and me that nobody knows, of course, he's just gonna be that big of a favorite.
Awesome, man. Thank you.
No problem.
All right, thank you, Solo. All right, coming up next in just a minute here is JJ Wilson. I'm gonna go ahead and lower all of your hands. So if you do have a question for JJ, go ahead and re-raise your hand and we will get started in a second. Our first question will go to Ben Kiley. All right, and with our first question, we'll go to Ben Kiley.
Hi, JJ. Well, so you're the younger fighter in this matchup. You're often fighting older guys, I guess, because you're so young. I just wonder, does it make it that little bit more special beating up an older man, being the young guy in the fight?
Yeah, I feel like it gives me more of an advantage. I have a little bit more energy. They're always a little bit stronger, but it is what it is, being a young guy in this game. But I feel like the sport favors the younger man.
And I know recently you took up videography. Can you just explain to me how that's been going and how that's been developing?
Yeah, that's been really good. I really enjoy it. I think it's really entertaining because it's really creative. It's like fighting. You get to be creative. So I really enjoy it. I've been making a few ads for gyms and friends, highlight reels and stuff like that. So it's been really fun.
Anything we should look out for?
Soon I'm gonna make a little highlight of this fight. After this fight, I'll be releasing it. So.
All right, thanks, JJ.
Thank you.
All right, our next question will go to Steve Jewin.
Thank you. JJ, my question is that both you and our previous guest, Solo Hatley Jr., were wearing a mask for today's webinar, and I'm wondering if you can tell us a little about the safety and health protocols going into the Bellator card on Friday, what they've had you do in terms of testing, quarantine, your team, all of that.
Yeah, Bellator's been really on top of the pandemic. Before we even got on our flight, we took a test And then upon arrival, we had to take another test. And then we were quarantined with our team inside our rooms. Mandatory mask and everything. So I think they've been really on top of this pandemic for this fight.
All right.
Definitely.
Thank you.
All right, our next question will go to Brian Peters. Your line is now live.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so you are obviously a great grappler. However, how do you feel your stand-up, your striking will fare against Claxton?
I feel like my striking is amazing. I've been doing kickboxing since I really started martial arts. So I've had over 12 kickboxing fights. So you guys haven't been able to see that yet. So I'm looking to demonstrate that for you guys in this fight.
All right, our next question will go to Mike Heck.
Hey, JJ. I'm just curious. You've been a part of some big cards since you've been with Bellator. You've had 5 pro fights, and 4 of them have been with Bellator, and a lot of these cards have been massive cards. So what does it mean to you to be a part of the return after all this time off for the organization?
It's amazing. Since the very beginning, I got to fight on really big name cards like Fedor and really big names, Casagano, and all those other cards that I fought on. It's been amazing. And to be able to be on the first card back after the pandemic is it's even better. They allow me to do what I love, and that's what the best thing is about this.
How have you sort of been handling the pandemic as far as training, preparation, things like that? Because this card kind of came together quickly. I assume you've been still doing what you can to work out and get ready for the fight. How has that been in preparation for this fight?
We had a small group. We had some wrestlers. We had a few jiu-jitsu people and a few strikers. And we kept a close group just in between our coaches and our training partners, just like 2 or 3 training partners of each aspect of the game. And we just worked through. And the quarantine didn't really affect me. It's good because it started to come back. The gym started to open back up in California. But then Governor Newsom closed down all indoor activities just a couple of weeks ago. So that was unfortunate, but it didn't affect us because it was already the end of the camp.
And then last thing for me, you're facing a guy with a lot of hype behind him in Taiwan Claxton. He was part of the Grand Prix, looking to make some moves in his own right in his career. You're undefeated, looking to make a name for yourself. Do you feel like you're kind of sneaking in here and getting ready to steal some shine, like you're flying under the radar?
Yeah, for sure. I think I've flown under the radar the whole time, and I finally got a shot against someone that has a name. So I'm ready to show the world what I've got. And in this fight, I think everyone's gonna realize that I'm the real deal.
Thanks, JJ. All the best to you.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from the line of Matthew Putterman. Your line is now live.
Hey, JJ, it's Matthew from MyMMAnews.com. My question is to you is what motivates you more, coming off of a loss or coming off of a win from a fighter's perspective?
That's a good question. Probably both, because if you come off a win, you want to keep winning. If you come off a loss, you have more kind of like need to win because you're always chasing that feeling. So I think they're both equally the same. I can't separate them.
Okay, definitely. And where do you see yourself here in the next 5 years in this Bellator MMA promotion?
With the belt around my waist.
And as you see the Bellator World Featherweight Grand Prix still going on, it's on a little bit of a pause right now due to the pandemic. Who do you see in the finals and who do you have winning that Grand Prix?
Probably Patricio, he's Pitbull, he's a beast, man. Can't really, he's been dominating for a long time, so I think he's gonna carry on. I want to be the one to take that from him.
My last question is for you. What motivates you to get up in the morning to train every day? And it's a tough sport. training 2-3 times a day. What is your drive to get up in the morning to want to become the best fighter in the world?
I've had a lot of hardships in my life, and martial arts has always saved me from those hardships. So when I wake up, it's a no-brainer. I don't even second guess it, to want to get up and train. It's just, for me, it's just life. It's just who I am. I know that's my passion. I know when I wake up in the morning, first thing I have to do is go to the gym and train. It just became who I am, and that's how it motivates me. Is I've seen all the hardships that I've been through and my family goes through, and I know through my hard work and my dedication that it will take me to a better place. And that's how I motivate myself to get up every morning and go put in work.
Definitely. That's all I have for you. Thank you very much.
Our next question will come from Andrew Benjamin. Your line is now live.
Hey, Jay. My question is, have you increased the amount of wrestling that's done in your camp to prepare for Claxton's ground and pound attack, or is it a matter of just honing in your grappling skills and focusing on just what you can do best?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Sorry about that. So have you increased the amount of wrestling done in your camp to prepare for Claxton's ground and pound, or are you just honing your grappling skills right now and focusing on a regular camp that you normally do for your fights?
So my camp never really changes. I always have the same kind of schedule that I do for every camp. It's just inside the camp we readjust specific training on what the opponent is good at. For example, he's a good wrestler. So we bring in a lot of lifetime wrestlers to so I can adapt my grappling to move with a lifetime wrestler, because a lifetime wrestler moves differently than a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. So we made those little adjustments in there. I'm not too worried about his ground and pound. My Jiu-Jitsu is on another level, and he's going to realize that when he gets in there with me. And if he manages to take me down, which I highly doubt he's going to be able to take me down, he's going to wish he never did it. I'm going to catch him off my back on top. So I made my adjustments, and we work. I have my jiu-jitsu, and we just modify it a little bit to be able to create openings so I can strike and open them up a little bit more, and to expose submissions. So we made our adjustments, so we're ready.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next question will go to the line of Joe McDonough. Your line is now live.
Hey, JJ, we know you're world class in jiu-jitsu. It'll be a big weapon for you come fight night. Where do you rank Claxton's jiu-jitsu in comparison to yours?
His jiu-jitsu is I can't rate his jiu-jitsu. I can rate his wrestling. He's an amazing wrestler, but his jiu-jitsu, I'm sorry, it's not good.
And with him being such a great wrestler, how much is cardio going to play into this fight?
100%. I think cardio is the one that wins this fight. I can go all day. So I think cardio is what's going to win this fight for sure. He's super explosive, so I want to see how he does after I take away that explosive power from him, and I'll see what he's capable of then.
Awesome, JJ. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question will come from the line of Ben Kiley.
Oh, you've already got me. You've already asked the question.
All right. We'll move along. Matthew Putterman.
Hey, JJ, it's Matthew from Anime News again. Hey, I know that training is a big, huge thing in your camp. Obviously, training is how you're going to get better. But what high-level guys are you training with, and what specific camp do you come out of? I'm not sure what camp you come out of.
For striking, I'm working with Janex. He works with Jeremy Stevens and Kate Sagano and all these fighters. So that's my coaches, and they bring in bodies for me and people for me to work with.
What would you say your biggest attribute is?
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for sure.
Okay, that's all I got for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, our final question will go to Brian Peters. Your line is now live.
Hi, Jay. It's Brian again. What did your training look like throughout this pandemic? Was there a lot of changes? Was it hard? I know you're out in the New Zealand area, which is pretty good with the pandemic right now, but was it kind of normal at this point because it's normal there?
So what happened was when this pandemic first hit, I was actually in New Zealand, and it was straight after my fight. I thought I'd go home for 1 month and spend some time with my family, go back to my old gym, show some love over there, and train with my old training partners and coaches over there. And I managed to, my flight, I flew back to San Diego, where I now live, 2 days before the lockdown in New Zealand. So I got lucky to be able to leave New Zealand. And then when I got back, I found it really hard to train because the pandemic here was really crazy at that time. So it was, we had just 2 guys, and it was just me and one of my really good friends. And we were just training inside his garage just to keep it up until, time started to progress. Numbers started to come down, and the gyms were allowed to open again. And then I was working one-on-one with all my coaches, and they were bringing in single people to lessen the risk so I could keep training, because I heard there was talks of possible matchups. So that's why I kept myself fit.
All right, that's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, and that's all we've got for JJ. We'll have Jason Jackson coming up next in just a minute. All right, we're now being joined by Jason Jackson. We'll go to Steve Jewin for the very first question. Your line is now live.
All right, thank you, Mr. Jackson. I have 2 questions for you, and the first one is about the layoff from your last fight with Kichi Kunamoto. Congratulations on that win, by the way, but did you expect to be out of action for over 6 months, or did the pandemic play a part in that?
The pandemic did play a major part in it. And thank you, by the way, but the pandemic definitely kind of delayed it. And I was a little upset myself that, that I was getting ready, because as soon as I was finished with the fight in Hawaii, I was right back in the gym getting ready for the next one. It doesn't matter who it was. I was just getting ready for something, because I just feel like my time is coming. I need to keep working, because the last performer just wasn't it.
Right, and we saw more of the performance that you probably like with Ed Ruth, even though you didn't end up getting the decision in that case. Can we expect that in this fight as well? Some sort of rock'em sock'em affair with Jordan Main?
No. I don't expect that at all. I learned so much from the Ed Ruth fight. That's something that I needed myself, even though I felt like I won the fight, yes, but that's a learning lesson that I needed to continue on for what's coming later on to me.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you for.
Our next question will go to Matthew Putterman. Your line is now live.
Hey, Jason, this is Matthew from MyMMAnews.com. My first question is to you, what motivates you more, coming off of a loss or coming off of a win from a fighter's perspective?
It's a good question. I'm already motivated already, so I wouldn't say the win or the losses. I think the fight matchup more motivate me than anything else, and my family and God.
Of course, you just talked about God, of course. What has God done for you in your life?
Showed me the right way, and keep me grounded from doing, the wrong, and just understand what life is about, and, maturity of life and responsibility. And once I live his way, there's not a wrong way.
Definitely. And what do you think your biggest attribute of fighter of yourself? What do you think your biggest attribute is? Excuse me.
It's my charisma, my athleticism, and my heart, and my determination, and my confidence.
And my last question is for you. Where do you see yourself here in the next 5 years in the Bellator mixed martial arts promotion?
Champion. That's too long. But champion within the next year or two, believe it or not.
That's all I got for you, man. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next question will go to Andrew Benjamin. Your line is now live.
Hey, Jason. Thank you very much for taking the questions. My question for you is, what are your thoughts on your opponent, Jordan Main? He's been around seemingly forever, fighting pro since 2006. What are your thoughts after, if you have watched tape of him, or give us your impression of him as a fighter?
He's been doing martial art all his life. And from what I backtrack, that he never grew that heart that I was born with. I was born with that will, that iron will to fight. He never could develop that. That's one thing I felt like he's missing. And that's one thing that going to prevail for me over this fight, the iron will.
How do you see this fight going in your favor? Do you see it going all 3 rounds? Do you expect a quick finish? How do you tell us your thoughts on that?
That's a good question. I always, when I go in my fights, I never go in there anticipating that I'm going to finish a guy, no matter how good or how bad the guy is. I just anticipate that this guy's not going to beat me. Because sometimes even when I knock them down or finish them, I'm surprised myself too. Mm-hmm. So I know I'm going to get the win. That's one thing that's inside of my heart, the W.
Great. Thank you very much, Jason. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Our next question goes to Mike Heck. Your line is now live.
Hey, Jason, how's it going? A couple questions for me. First off, looking at your record and stuff, you've been in this game for a while. Like, you've experienced a lot of different things in this sport, from the Ultimate Fighter, Contender Series, fought for many different promotions and very big spots. Still, you're only 29 years old. You're still kind of a baby in this sport when it comes to actual fight years. Do you feel like you're just hitting your prime right now?
That's a good question. I think so. I really do. And I'm glad that you actually took the time to actually look into that, because I feel like a lot of people forget that I had a lot of setback and still moving forward on. So yes, I would agree that I am in my prime and this is my time.
What do you think's been the biggest lesson you've learned along the way through these different experiences that you had? Because it feels like you've been on the doorstep so many times and just have come up short for so many unfortunate different kinds of reasons. What do you think's been your biggest learning lesson thus far in your career?
The 2 injuries that I had, but the second one was the biggest sign of my life, because I was like, no way I'm going to sit here for another year and just do nothing. And that's when I decided to start my own company, and that's doing well. It's doing good. And that was one lesson. I was like, not because you can't do something that means you can't do something else. And I learned from that, as in just climbing a tree with a broken leg, that I can do whatever is possible. It's just the mind. So my broken ankle in the Contender Series was one of the biggest lessons.
And then last thing for me, your gym has had a lot of success these days over at Sanford MMA. A lot of good things have been going on. Henry Hooft is just putting together this squad of killers right now, and there's been a lot of successful guys and gals in your gym. What has that done for you as far as motivating you, seeing the success from the rest of the guys on your team at this point?
It definitely motivates me to see my fellow teammates go out there and do everything that they train. It just shows that the quality level of training that I'm receiving is top of the notch, and it's just a confident builder, man. It is.
Thank you, Jason. All the best to you on Friday.
All right. Thank you so much.
Our next question will go to the line of Damon Martin. Your line is now live.
Hey, Jason. I know, as you mentioned, training at Sanford MMA, I know there's been a little bit of a scare, a couple of fighters and some of the coaches dealing with COVID-19. How is that for you? Because I know Jared Gordon, basically lost all of his coaches, going over to Abu Dhabi, and I know Steve Mowry, who was on this card, just tested positive. Was there any worry about that for you dealing with your training?
I don't know. I did the test about 6 times, and like I said, I've been on my roots: ginger, garlic, honey, onions, you name it. For spirulina, turmeric, I've been keeping up my immune system. So, anything could happen in 6 season. Regardless if COVID would have came around or not, people still would have got sick. Just with a high level of training and everything, it's normal in some gyms. It's just now, if it's a cough or a headache or what, people forget that they can destroy their immune system just training every day. You need something to keep it up. So if you're not taking care of immune system with everything that's going around right now, disease and everything, not wearing a mask and stuff like that, you're bound to get sick. Because I know a lot of people there that just get tested like myself over and over and nothing, negative. So what that say? What does that say? Henry tests about 50 times? Still.
How is it with the training? I talked to Michael Chandler, and he said, typically it's still the same. You work with a smaller group of guys, but you keep kind of together, working together, make sure everyone's getting the work in. How is that for you with this training camp? Because it is obviously a little different than what you would normally deal with in a regular training camp. Yes, that's exactly how it's structured. You just grab a few guys that are going to give you a good output of work, and you seclude off yourself and make a personal time and get together and get it done. And last question, Jason, as it's been mentioned, you've kind of fought a who's who throughout your career, but it seems like you've always been that one step away. When you look at the welterweight division in Bellator now coming into this co-main event, how big is this moment for you in a co-main event like this to shine and then make that run? It feels like you've always been that guy who's been one step away from making that run. True. Let's see how that goes, because like I said, been down the stairs and fall off every single time. We just need to take the one step. So we're here and we're going to keep moving forward no matter what. Thanks, Jason. Thank you.
All right. And our last question comes from Gareth A. Davies. Your line is now live.
Can we just take a moment? I'm looking out on the sea from the UK where it's a beautiful sunny day. Can we just take a moment to appreciate the coolness that is Jason Jackson, for one? This is the coolest guy on the planet right now. Look at you.
Stop it, man. You're making me blush on camera.
Guy out. And you know what? You forgot one of the weeds, ashwagandha. Did you take ashwagandha as well?
Yeah.
I just want to say, Jason, what does it mean to you to be on this first event back after 5 months? Because it's an amazing showcase. It's live here in the UK, and we are seeing the rise of the African-American fighter right now. We'll see the Africans really come into MMA in this decade. It will be the decade of the Africans, as far as I'm concerned, It's the Black Lives Matter Africans coming, But are you with me on that this is your time?
Absolutely. Rasta time. Time. You know it. And like I said, this just proves that only the fittest of the fittest shall survive during these times.
Take the title from Babylon, brother. Take the title from Babylon.
Yes.
And does it mean a lot to be on that first event back? Does it mean a lot to be on? Yeah. Great to see you, brother. Best of luck on Friday night.
Thank you so much, man. Good energy, man. You definitely make it worth my time. Appreciate
you. More time. Soon come.
All right, Russ.
Great. Thank you very much, Jason. I appreciate that. Next up, we'll have Ricky Bandejas in just a minute. All right. We've got Ricky Bandejas, and our first question will go to Steve Jewin. Your line is now live.
Thank you. And Ricky, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And I know these are unusual circumstances right now, but you've got to be feeling excited coming off of 2 straight knockouts and looking to get a 3rd win in a division that currently doesn't have a champion. So how are you feeling about this fight?
I'm super excited. We'll hope to keep the knockout streak going and find a guy like Pettis, huge name, and I feel like it will push me ahead in the division.
Well, you've been known to get some major upsets over big names before. I was there live and saw what you did with James Gallagher. So do you consider this just another big name that you're going to knock off his block?
Yeah, that's the plan. Just another name with a big following, hype, and hopefully just put an end to that.
What did you see in his Bellator debut with Alfred Kashakian? Did you get any tells from that you'll see in this fight?
Yeah, that he's tough, man. He's well-rounded, he's experienced, and he's a gamer. So I know I'm going to go out there and give it 100%.
All right, best of luck on Friday. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of Mike Heck. Your line is now live.
Hey, Ricky, how's it going? How are you enjoying this fight sphere atmosphere heading into this fight? I know Bellator's done a lot of research on how to make everything very safety conscious for the fighters and for the staff. How have you been enjoying the situation in this crazy atmosphere that you're in?
Hey, man, how you doing? It's definitely different. It's not your typical fight week. And, but, it's part of fighting. Just adapt and get used to it.
And what does it sort of mean to you to headline the first event back? I mean, this is obviously very big. It's a big fight against Sergio Pettis. What does it mean to you to be at the top of the bill here?
It means a lot. It's a huge opportunity. Just the way everything worked out. I'm excited to be the main event, and I hope I can capitalize on this.
And then last thing for me, a lot of people are looking at this fight as it's like a title eliminator, even though there's no champion right now. But it seems like Patrick Mix and Juan Archuleta are going to fight for the vacant title soon, maybe in September from everything that I'm hearing. So either way for you, if you beat Sergio Pettis, you're likely going to get one of those 2 guys, and you've fought both of those guys already, and you've suffered losses to both of those guys. So this puts you in a great situation that you're going to be able to have the opportunity to avenge a loss and fight for a title at the same time. Are you focused on that right now, that this could be a title eliminator, or are you just focused on the fact that you're fighting Sergio Pettis on Friday night?
That is an idea in your head, but I'm staying focused on the goal, which is to beat Pettis, and hopefully when we beat him, we can get back one of those losses.
Thanks, Ricky. All the best to you on Friday, man.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Our next question comes from the line of Joe McDonough. Your line is now live.
Hey, Ricky, how's it going, man? I was talking to Randy Costa a couple weeks ago, and he says that you guys have been sparring together a lot at American Top Team. Not only in those walls do you have some of the best minds in the world, but to get, other guys that come for cross-training or, if their gym's closed, how important is it to get those guys in the gym and spar with them for something new?
It's awesome, a guy like Randy, he's really talented, he's good. He fights like Pettis, having a gym like this, you can get any style that you're going to have in an opponent, so that helps. And it's just to mix it up with the best guys in the world. That's that's a positive.
Absolutely. And so you're main eventing the first card back, huge fight. What were the emotions like when you got that call?
I'm excited. It's a huge opportunity, and if everything goes right, we'll freaking grow my career and head in the right direction.
Awesome, Ricky. Best of luck.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of Brian Peters. Your line is now live.
Hi, Ricky. This is Brian from MMA All Access. I just had a quick question. How does it feel to headline your first Bellator card?
It feels great. When you set out in this career, profession or career, you hope to headline a card one day, especially with a big promotion. So this is a big opportunity for me, and I'm really excited.
Definitely. And another quick question. How obviously Sergio Pettis has a lot of experience from the UFC, especially in the flyweight division. How do you feel kind of having him re-enter in his second fight at bantamweight in Bellator against you and in a headliner?
I think it's exciting. He, like you said, he fought some of the best guys in the world, so it's going to be a test. And it's only his second fight. I think his last fight he won by TKO, so I'm definitely excited.
All right, that's all I had. Thank you, Ricky.
Thank you, man.
Next question comes from the line of Gareth Davies. Your line is now live.
Hey, Ricky, from London. How are you doing?
Good. How about you?
I'm good, thank you. You look more intimidating in a mask than you do without one. Yeah, as Michael, Joe, and Brian just asked, you obviously headlining is really important in the career. You know, you're still a very young man. I don't know if you know, but it's live in the UK as well. So it's an opportunity to grow your British fan base and come back and perhaps defeat Gallagher a second time over here when we get a card back here. And I know you're going to deliver an exciting fight, but are you you've got this amazing berserker style in a way, I might call it, you know, you flick the switch and you go. And then we all love you for that. But are you going to be a little bit more educated in the way you fight Sergio on Friday night?
Yeah, you know, I know he's sharp and he's a good counter fighter, so definitely won't be too wild, but I'm ready for whatever happens. You know, if we have to slug it out, wrestle, stand, and point fight, whatever it is, I'll be ready for him.
And how would you like to come over to Dublin and headline against Gallagher again? Because it will be huge. You knocked him sideways last time and back into the past. Would you like to fight him again as a headliner over here?
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. Say I beat Pettis, you know, and then a rematch with Gallagher, and like you said, in Ireland headline. I think that would be great. A lot of people would want to see that, and it's only going to help my stock.
Final one from me, and I can't wait to see you fight as always. What have you learnt about yourself during these 4 months of lockdown? Because a lot of us have had to pause and think about our lives. What have you learnt about yourself deeply?
You know, nothing really changed for me, man. My life was the same. You know, I train every day. You know, I know some people have a job, put in 40 hours a week. So luckily I hang out at home, I work out. So my life is no different, you know, and there wasn't really any fights. I'm used to taking a couple months off. So it worked out well for me.
Have a great fight on Friday night. Can't wait to see you in action. Thank you very much, Ricky.
Thank you for having me. Have a good day.
All right, we'll take two more questions. Next question will go to the line of Andrew Benjamin. Your line is now live.
Hey, Rick. Thank you for taking time to answer questions. My question is more about the training during the pandemic. Did you have to adapt at all or change your training at all? I know you said that you work out at home, but was there anything else that you had to train specifically differently or not at all during this whole last few months?
No, you know, luckily I go to American Top Team. You know, it's a great gym, and they did a wonderful job of making sure everybody got their work in and, you know, their rounds, their training partners. They made it happen. So luckily this was no different than any other camp.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Looking forward to the fights.
Thank you. Have a good one.
Thank you.
All right, our final question will go to the line of Matthew Putterman. Now live.
Hey, Ricky, I just wanted to ask, what are the weaknesses that you see in Sergio Pettis' game?
You know, I think, you know, he folds under pressure a little bit. And I think, like, you know, you come forward on him and just put pressure. I think you know, and I think gets a little tired. So I hope I'm right, and we'll find out on Friday.
And my last one for you is, what motivates you more, coming off of a loss or coming off a win from a fighter's perspective?
Either or, man. That doesn't really change it. You know, win or loss, I'm still trying to go out there and win. You know, it doesn't motivate me anymore.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ricky. We appreciate it. We will let you go and get started here with Aaron Pico in just a few minutes.
Thank you, guys.
All right. We're now being joined by Aaron Pico. And we'll just jump into the questions and get started with the line of Steve Jewin. You're now live.
All right, thank you. Aaron, it's always a pleasure to talk to you. And first, I want to talk about your Daniel Carey fight, because we saw a complete revision of your game in that fight, where you've been known for fantastic body shot knockouts and first-round finishes, but you took a methodical approach in that fight. You slowly wore him down, and in the second round, you pulled the trigger and finished him. And I want to know how much of that you credit to Jackson Winklejohn and the training that you've picked up there.
Yeah, that's really good knockouts are awesome. The fans love them, but at the end of the day, I got to do what's best for me and in my career. And of course, there's always risks involved in anything you do, but I really want to be smart in my fighting career. I've taken some lumps along the way, and I've had to learn very, very quick at a young age that yeah, knockouts are cool, but winning is the most important thing. So whatever I got to do to win, use my wrestling, basically just use my skills and be smart. But I do credit that to the coaches. Greg Jackson has instilled in me that we have a game plan, we need to follow it, and yeah, it worked. It was a good fight for me, and I'm happy I got the W in that fashion. But like I said, I got to be smart in my career and use my skills and not be so macho man that I have to get the knockout. If it comes, it's great. But if it doesn't, then I got to do what I got to do to win.
And Solo Hatley mentioned it earlier when he was on the line that he views this as a huge opportunity for him. He said, you're the name that they were building up before you even made your Bellator debut. So I know I've mentioned this to you before, that you always feel like you have a target on your back, but now that Hatley's put it on you, what does that mean to you?
I mean, every fight that I'm going to fight from now on, there's going to be a target on my back. It's something that I've had to deal with since my Bellator debut, so it's nothing new to me. I just got to go out there and compete. But yeah, there is a target on my back, and for him, he has nothing to lose but everything to gain. But I don't really pay too much attention to that. Just go out there and compete and get the W.
All right. Last from me, how has your training changed due to this coronavirus pandemic that we're all dealing with?
Yeah, it's the biggest thing with me, Coach Gibson and I, we've been doing a lot of work in his garage. And when Jackson Wink opened up, was working with Greg one-on-one, and there was some pod sessions with just a few amount of people. Of course, I did some sparring, but as soon as I got done sparring, I would just shower and go home. I wasn't in the gym too much, just when I had to train with Greg in my sparring sessions. And then a lot of my mitt work was in Coach Gibson's garage. He got a mat. So yeah, it changed quite a bit. I can't just sit in the gym and be around everybody like how I used to be, but it's something that we can't complain about. It's the world we live in, and we got to make the best of it.
Well, I look forward to seeing how you made the best of it on Friday. Good luck in the fight.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Mike Heck.
Hey, Aaron, how's it going, man? This all seemingly came together pretty quickly. When were you made aware of this fight and this opportunity to fight on this card?
I was hearing some rumors that they were going to fight in July. I wasn't sure as far as the date, but they said July. So, or that's what I was hearing, July. But in the middle of May is when I really started to get with my nutritionist and get my weight down. So if July was to happen, my weight was good. I didn't want to get a phone call and say, well, I can't fight because my weight's out and my training's not good. So the end of May, or the middle of May, is when I really started to bring everything together and have July in mind. Whatever day it was, I was going to be ready to fight, whether it be July 1st or at the end of July. So, and middle of May, sorry.
Yeah, because we spoke a couple months ago, and you said that essentially you weren't really in a rush to come back and fight during this crazy time in the world. You were happy spending time with the horses, and if you weren't able to get in like proper training, you weren't really all that interested in rushing back to take a fight. Do you feel like, and I know you sort of touched on your training situation now, do you feel like the situation was good enough that you were able to put enough time in the gym and with Coach Gibson and Coach Jackson to give you the confidence to put pen to paper here?
Yeah, I mean, during this whole thing, honestly, I mean, I was riding my horses and just chilling out a lot, but I was with Coach Gibson probably 5 to 6 days a week in his garage working on combinations, doing a lot of ground and pound. And then June 1st is when I was back with Coach Greg. So I had a good solid almost 2 months with Coach Greg and sparring. So I had it in like a 9-week camp, like official camp. But during that time, like I said, in the middle of May is when I started my eating program and conditioning. So yeah, I feel like I had a full training camp. I'm ready to go.
And then last thing for me, just being a part of the return card for Bellator. I mean, you've been with them the entire time that you've been a part of this sport. What does that mean to you to be a part of the card that pretty much brings everything back and put together for the organization?
That feels good. I am very, very happy. And one thing I got to say is Bellator, I like this way better than regular fight week. Bellator has actually done a really, really, really good job with making sure all the fighters are safe. And we all have our own little saunas. We have our own workout room, treadmill, everything. So I'm very, very happy the way that this is ran. I feel like when all this craziness is over, I feel like they should do it this way. It's a lot more private. I get a lot more time I don't have to be in the sauna with my opponent or like I'll go down and be like, man, if my opponent's going to be there, it's going to be like weird. Now I have my own stuff to worry about. I have my own treadmill. I have my own sauna. So I like this way a lot better. I don't got to deal with seeing a lot of people because I don't like to be around a lot of people anyway. So this works out for me.
There you go. All the best to you, Aaron.
Our next question comes from the line of Joe McDonough. Your line is now live.
Hey, Aaron. People forget, you're still so young in your career. When you look back on those losses now, are they almost blessings in disguise in the sense that you've, continued to learn and grow your game since then?
For sure. I mean, honestly, the losses used to eat me up big time. I used to be so pissed that I lost. But I'm the people that I've met, my manager, my coaches, I would do anything. I'm happy with those losses because I don't think I would be the martial artist that I am today, fighter, without those losses. If I was 8-0 with 8 knockouts, I don't think I would grow. Honestly, I don't think so. So I think those losses are truly a blessing. I'm with Coach Greg, Coach Wing, Coach Gibson, Professor Tusa, and all the guys over there at JW. And I'm with the best manager in the world, Ali, after all those losses. So I think everything fell into place how it was supposed to, and I just had to take 3 losses in order to get there, but I'm okay with that.
Absolutely. And so, like you said earlier, you've had a target on your back since, day one with Bellator, since, before you were a fighter. How has the hype, how has that affected you? You're only a 23-year-old. Has it hurt at times as much as it's helped?
Honestly, I don't think about that anymore. I really, really don't. I train a lot. I watch a lot of video. I'm like a very, very big student of the sport. And I just worry about my skills and ride my horse, chill with my dogs. And as soon as I start putting pressure on myself that I need to do this, I need to do that, it just seems like stuff goes south. So that's for people to decide. I can't apologize for winning when I was younger with all the wrestling and boxing. I mean, what do you want me to do? Like not win? And people say I'm a great prospect and all this stuff, but that's not my fault. I'm just doing what I love. And it's I like to say it's expensive to have a target on your back because I put a lot of work in and it's paying off. And I've taken some lumps along the road, but like I said, I'm only 23, so it's all good.
And best of luck on Friday night, man.
I appreciate it, brother.
Our next question comes from the line of Jordan Ellis. Your line is now live.
Hi, Alan. Have you got me?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So you were just saying then you're a student of the game and you're watching a lot of videotapes. So I'm just wondering what your thoughts are of Solo and what you've seen of him and how he ranks against the guys you've already fought.
Yeah, what I think of Solo, I think he's a strong wrestler. He's taken a lot of his opponents down. But I think a lot of the guys that I fight forget that I was a world champion in wrestling, and I have 3 world medals. I was a Olympic alternate at 19, so I think I have a good idea of how to wrestle. So if he thinks he's just gonna, come in here and take me down or stop my defense, we'll have to see. That's why we're fighting Friday night. But I think he's a tough guy. I think he's 8-2, has a better record than me. He's got power in his hands, and I'm focused on this guy for sure. I'm not taking him lightly at all. And that's why I prepared the way that I did. So, yeah, he's going to be a tough guy for sure. He's going to come out very, very strong, and it's going to be a fun fight.
Our next question comes from the line of Steven Morocco.
Aaron, how's Canelo doing?
Say that again?
How's Canelo doing?
Oh, Canelo's good. Yes, he's really good. I have 2 of them now. I have Canelo and Coleon, so I have 2 horses now, and so spoiled. Those guys live the life, and yeah, that's why I do what I do, so they can have a good life and I can have fun with them. So yeah, they're good. Thanks for asking.
You say Corleone as in Michael Corleone or Donald or Don Corleone?
Yeah, like Don Corleone from The Godfather. That's his name. I didn't name him, but I think it's a good name for sure.
Yeah. So, what has he been getting a lot more attention since all this craziness started?
Yeah, my horses always get attention, even like outside of this. Like people like always ask, what do you do? I mean, I don't do much, to be honest with you. I go to the gym and I spend time with my dogs, horses, and girlfriend. I don't care to do much because that's my life. That's what makes me happy. And I need to get better as a fighter. So I'm in the gym constantly. And then when I have downtime, I'm just with my horses chilling, So yeah, they're always getting attention. But during all this quarantine and stuff, yeah, that's pretty much all I was doing, just hanging out with them, trailering them to other places to ride and stuff. So yeah, they definitely get a lot of attention for sure. And I'm lucky that my girlfriend loves them too, because if she didn't like horses, it would be very, very hard, because that's where all my time goes.
When you say you watch tape, who are you watching tape of?
Everybody. I watch tape of like everybody. My opponent, Kamaru Usman, Khabib, Valentina, Amanda, Aldo, Peter Yan. I watch a video, I watch like 5-6 fights a day. I wake up in the morning, I watch like 2 fights, feed the horses, do what I need to do, come back, go to practice, watch more fights. I really, really study the game. And after all these losses, I truly, truly fell in love with the sport of MMA. I really, really love it now. And I'm learning a lot, and hope to be world champion.
Who impresses you these days when it comes to watching tape, seeing fights?
Honestly, my top 3 favorite fighters. Number 1 is Kamaru Usman. Number 2 is Khabib, and number 3 is Valentina. I love those fighters, and of course, there's a lot of great fighters, but those are my top 3 current fighters that I watch a lot. I watch a lot of Kamaru Usman. I love his style. Some people think it was like his last fight was boring, but I thought it was beautiful. He got the W, and most importantly, retained the belt.
Where does Patricio Pitbull rank on that list? And what's your scouting report of him?
He's a tough. I think he's top 3 in the world of all organizations. I truly, truly do. He's a veteran of the sport, and if when we have to fight him, I'm going to be very, very well prepared and be in the lab with the coaches studying that guy for sure, because he's no slouch. That's for sure. There's a reason why he's where he's at, and I feel he's in the top 3 pound for pound fighters in the world at 145. He's up there with the best of them.
All right, we are going to take 2 more questions. The next question will come from the line of Ben Kiley.
Hi, Aaron. So obviously everything you've done in your life athletically, you've excelled at, and you seem to really enjoy the grind of training. Is there any point in your career where you've struggled for motivation?
No, not really. Like at the end of the day, like when I win, I always ask myself, would I do it again? And the answer is yes. And then when I lose, I wake up the next morning and I always ask myself, would I have done that again? And the answer is yes. And obviously after losses, there's motivation to get back on top. And then when you win, there's motivation to just become a better fighter. So the day my answer is no, I won't do it again, is probably the day I retire and the motivation won't be there. So no, I don't lack motivation at all.
And how do you balance between being focused on training and bettering yourself and getting too obsessive and overtraining? How do you find the right balance between those two?
Yeah, it's a very, very fine line. But as I've gotten, I've only been in the game not very long, but as the months and the years go on, I'm starting to get very, very smart about my training and not overtraining. I really want to have a good, long, healthy career, and it's really opened my eyes the last year and a half that I got to be smart about everything: my training, my recovery, and my fighting style. So it's something that is a work in progress, and I can't give you a for sure answer. it's a battle every time. Do I rest? Do I go to practice? But it's something that I honestly communicate with my coaches every single day, telling how I'm feeling. Sometimes they'll say, you'll be good, and sometimes they say rest. So whatever they say, I'm a good listener. So.
Okay, thank you, Aaron.
No worries.
All right, and our last question for Aaron will come from John Eric Poli. Your line is now live.
Hi, Aaron.
How's it going? How's it going, John?
Good. I'll be real quick with you here. I know you want to get out of here. So I just want to touch with Jackson Wink again for a second there. I know you haven't been there for your whole entire fight career, but you've been there for a little while now. So over this time that you've been with Jackson Wink, just how much have you evolved as a fighter since moving to that camp?
For me, I feel like I've evolved a lot, and I'm still growing. I really, really love the coaches there. Greg has done a good job with breaking down positions for me. Coach Gibson has worked on my striking, my MMA striking, and as well as Coach Wink. And I just I've been improving every day. I'm not going from here all over the place. I'm in one gym working on becoming a better fighter. And I've got to explore a little bit. I've got to go with my manager Ali to different places and work on my skills, and just the people I've met along the way have been good. And I've come a long way since when I first started. It's kind of crazy. I watch my fights now, like even the fights that I went on a 4-fight winning streak and knocking everybody out. And I'm just like, man, I took so many unnecessary risks. It was crazy, but I'm glad I made the mistakes and hope to not make them again.
And Aaron, there's been so much made, obviously, of what Solo's had to say about you during this time, and you've got a few questions about that already, but no one's asked you, how do you see this fight going down?
Honestly, I just see myself going out there and competing, using all my skills. I know he's very, very confident, which I really, really like, but I just got to go out there and use my skills and not worry about, it's a fight. No, it's a competition. I got to be smart. I got to be strategic, and I got to do what I got to do to win. So I'm not really worried too much about him. I think he's more starstruck, like, I'm fighting Aaron Pico. Oh, he's not this, he's not that. I'm not really focused on him. I'm just focused on myself, calming my emotions down and going out there and competing. But it sounds like he's more worried about me. Yeah, everybody's saying he's saying this about you, saying that. That's good. He's so focused on me, and sometimes you just got to worry about yourself and calming yourself down. So that's what I'm doing.
And then, Aaron, just the last thing here for me. Obviously, anything could happen inside the cage there, but God willing, you get out of there with no problems. How active do you want to be the rest of the year now that Bellator is back and that you've had this little bit of a layoff due to the COVID pandemic?
Yeah, if it was up to me, and God willing, nothing happens, everything goes well, no injuries, I want to fight 2 more times this year. That would be a dream. So, but by the way it's looking with Bellator, how they're running everything, I think we can be on track. They're doing a really, really good job, and I really like the way that it's ran this way opposed to the other ways. This is a lot more better. So I can't wait. If it's ran like this, I think I can fight 2 more times. So it'll be fun.
Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate the time.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Aaron. We will have Taiwan Claxton joining us in just a few minutes, so please stand by for that. If you've got questions for Taiwan, feel free to raise your hand now. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're now being joined by Taiwan Claxton. We will get questions started with Thomas Galdenzi. Your line is now live.
Hey, it's Thomas Galdenzi with Combat Sports Coverage. And I was just wondering, how are you feeling heading into this fight with JJ, who is a submission specialist?
I'm feeling great. I've been in there with a lot of top guys throughout my training camp, and the best me is yet to come out and show what he can do in the cage. So I'm feeling great, man.
And how was your training camp for this fight with COVID-19? What was the biggest problem that it probably played into your training camp than normal?
For me, nothing. It actually got a little better. I spent the time throughout COVID kind of just seeing where I was gonna kind of lay roots, and I decided to do that in Denver. But before I decided on Denver, I was quarantined with AJ Matthews, and me and him got our thug tie on, and I grew a lot during the quarantine. So I think that it was a kind of a blessing in disguise for me to be able to slow down, not be fighting as much, and grow as a fighter. So it was all positive things.
Well, thank you so much, and I look forward to your fight.
Solid.
Great. Our next question will go to Brian Woodman. Brian, your line is now live.
How do you do? My name is Brian Woodman. I'm with Nutmeg MMA.
How's it going?
How you doing, sir? Thank you for your time. How do you feel your wrestling is going to stack up against your opponent's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu?
Look, at the end of the day, he hasn't had anybody on top of him beating the shit out of him, and that's what it's going to boil down to. I've been in there with guys like Emmanuel Sanchez, and at the end of the day, it took Sanchez a while to decipher what I was doing on the top and how I was doing it. And if I choose to take this fight to the ground, there is absolutely nothing JJ Wilson will be able to do to stop me. I think that he gives up position a lot, and I think that he tries to be a little bit too jiu-jitsu and too slick. It's a fight. It's not a jiu-jitsu match. It's not a wrestling match. So I think that if it did come down to it, my wrestling would destroy his BJJ skills in a heartbeat.
Okay, thank you.
Great. Our next question will come from the line of Brian Peters. You're now live.
Hi, this is Brian Peters from All Access MMA. Just a quick question. Obviously, all of your professional fights have been in Bellator. Do you plan to spend your entire career in the promotion? And what makes Bellator such a great place to work as a fighter?
Yeah, I actually do plan on, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's always been my motto. So they've been treating me well since I've been in the promotion. I've gotten fair fights. I've been getting pushed with the right fights. I've also been getting, fights that are supposed to help me grow, like the Sanchez fight and fights of that nature. And I'd like it because at the end of the day, I can do as much coding as I want to do and still be one of the top fighters in the organization. And that's something that I love. So I plan on sticking around for years to come. As long as I put those gloves on and step into that cage, I plan on having a Bellator B on them.
Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Our next question comes from Steve Jewin.
Taiwan, as always, thank you for the time. And I want to know, earlier on the call, JJ said he couldn't rate your jiu-jitsu at all. And you seem a little fired up right now. So I'm wondering if that got leaked to you and what your response to that would be.
I didn't know that, but you want to know what I am? I'm a white belt that's about to whoop your ass. Simply put, that's how you rate my jiu-jitsu. I'm a white belt in jiu-jitsu, but I'm a black belt in whooping ass. So, he can say what he wants to say, but again, there's levels, and he's never fought anybody like me. He's never felt anybody like me. He'll realize. I know he has slick BJJ. I've seen him on guys' backs. I know that if he gets the back, it's a problem, but he has to get to my back first, and then if he gets there, we've got answers. But at the end of the day, the kid's biting off more than he can chew, and all he's doing is pissing me off, so I just can't wait till Friday, and we'll rate his jiu-jitsu, when somebody's on top of him trying to murder him.
Do you think you might have a little Fortnite dance for him, something like we saw in Sioux Falls?
I think I'm going to talk to him the whole time. I'm going to tell him that a white belt's doing this to you. I think that's what I'm going to do.
All right. Well, we look forward to it. Thank you, Taiwan.
For sure.
Our next question comes from the line of Matthew Putterman. Your line is now live.
Hey, Taiwan. Matthew Putterman from MyMMAnews.com. What was your biggest takeaway from your fight with Emmanuel Sanchez?
Don't force wrestling. don't force wrestling, and then that I need to be a swordsman. There's a long sword and there's a short sword, and I needed to have both. I only have one. I now have both. When you have both, you can be a little bit more comfortable. And then, it's just being comfortable in, like I said, the long distance and the short distance. I'm comfortable in both. I don't need to force my wrestling. I am prepared to stand and bang for 15 minutes if absolutely necessary, and positioning and just not settling in any bad positions. So that Sanchez fight taught me a lot. That was invaluable, I don't know, 9 minutes, 10 minutes or whatever that I spent in the cage with him. So I'm grateful for that fight. And I just know how to really balance my energy and conserve, my energy to really get to the end of every fight, no matter how rough or how tough it is.
And I asked a lot of the other guys before too, but obviously now suffering your first loss as a professional, what motivates you more, coming off of a loss or coming off of a win from a fighter's perspective?
Well, definitely coming off a loss. I mean, you got beat up in front of the whole world. So, that's as much motivation as you need to get back in the gym and start training again and rebuild yourself back up. And I feel like that's what I'm doing right now. I'm back on the building process. And I've taken the steps necessary to really go out there and show that I'm on a different level.
And as you see, the Bellator Featherweight World Grand Prix is kind of like on a pause at the moment. And once that comes back and once it resumes, who do you have winning the tournament?
Who do I have winning it?
Yes.
I don't know. I don't even know who's in the tournament anymore that I'm not in it. So I don't really pay attention to it that much. For me, it's all about, I've never been a fan. I've never been a fan of anything that I'm competing in. I never watch anything that I compete in. I literally just started watching fights, 2 or 3 months ago. So I like Caldwell, man. I like Caldwell because I seen him beat Metcalf at the NCAA finals. So that's a name that I know. That's a name that I'll roll with.
My last question for you is, what's your biggest attribute as a fighter?
Probably my good looks. No, I'm joking. If I'd probably have to say, at this point, it will probably be athleticism, but my IQ is a close second. I have a pretty big IQ already outside the cage, and it's starting to translate over inside. And so I think as I get more experience, my IQ is going to be what sets me apart from all the rest of these guys. But right now, I think it's a little bit of, athleticism and a little bit of the IQ put together.
That's all I got for you. Thank you very much, man.
All right, we'll do a couple more questions. Next one, we'll go to Ben Kiley. Your line is now live.
Hi, Tom. Your opponent is undefeated. Do you think that him having not tasted defeat will be a disadvantage? You already said that you get more motivation coming off a defeat.
Can you repeat that?
Yeah, your opponent for this fight is undefeated. Do you think that that's going to work against him? As you already said, that you get more motivation coming off of a defeat.
Yeah, well, I'm coming off a win. I've tasted defeat before, but I think that you don't know what you don't know until you don't know it, right? And, at the end of the day, I've said it once and I've said it twice. He's good at jiu-jitsu, but no one's been on top of him trying to kill him. And I'm not too impressed with the guys that he's fought. You got guys trying to put rubber guard inside of a fight. Your last fight's against a guy that's 4-5, the fights before that. You've been fed, simply put. And so at the end of the day, I'm going to show him what happens when, you walk into a cage with somebody who really wants to hurt you, who doesn't care about being hurt. Who's already lost, who doesn't have anything to protect, any record to protect. There's levels, and it's going to play against him. I think he's a little arrogant right now, and he has a reason to be. He's undefeated, right? No man has ever bested him, but I think he's about to meet his maker.
And how is the coding coming along?
Really good, man. I actually just launched my blog today and launched a new site, and it's coming along pretty great. I'm about to come out in the next 2 months. I'm going to have my beginners coding series for, kids that don't have access to everything, to teaching and to different resources. I'm coming out with just my own line of coding series and blog tutorial videos, and it's really great. My new site is live. Literally just went live about an hour and a half ago. airclaxton.com. Check it out. Check the blogs on it, and it's a dope site. It's a real dope site, man. So I'm happy to be able to provide those resources and give back to kids that kind of grew up like I grew up with shit, and just kind of find a way to make something out of nothing. So thanks for asking. I appreciate that.
No worries. Thanks for answering my question, Taiwan.
For sure.
All right, 2 more. Next one goes to John Eric Polai. Your line is now live.
Hi, Taiwan. How you doing?
Pretty good. You?
I'm good, man. Thanks for asking. So my first thing for you, I know that you're originally from Ohio and you started off your training out there in Ohio. I recently saw on your Instagram that you're out in Denver, Colorado. How long have you been training out there in Colorado?
I've been out in Colorado for about 5-6 weeks. 5 or 6 weeks. Yeah.
So why did you make that change to start training out there, and how have you seen yourself improve since you've made that change?
Simply put, one of my really good friends just kind of put it in perspective for me. Kamaru Usman's a good friend of mine, always been a good friend of mine. He just said, look, man, you don't know enough to be your own coach. Go join a team. And so I was on my way to Vegas, spent some time with my boy AJ Matthews, and I stopped in Colorado to see Carrington Banks and ended up training that elevation fight team for about a week before I went back to Vegas. I had got to Vegas and then decided to turn around and go back to Colorado and call that home. So got great partners to work out there with, and it's good to be able to walk into a gym and just be able to train, and leave the gym and know that tomorrow when I go there, I'm going to have great bodies to work with, like Dober, like Gaethje, Magny, Austin Hubbard, you name them. I'm sparring with all these guys on a regular basis now. And, when I go home, I can kind of cut my brain off and I don't have to plan my next workout and I don't have to pick up workout partners and, all the things that I was doing while I was in Cleveland, I just don't have to do anymore. So it's freed up a lot of my mental space and allowed me to really just focus on fighting. And that's why I decided to make Colorado home.
And when it comes to fighting style, like we know the wrestling background that you have, but we've seen the flying knee, which was incredible, by the way, and we've seen you get loose with the hands and start throwing your hands a lot. Do you feel that you're more than just a wrestler that's kind of picking up the stand-up game? Do you feel that you're this well-rounded fighter that's comfortable wherever the fight may go?
Absolutely. Over this quarantine, I developed a ground game, a bottom game. I've spent months with AJ Matthews. I keep saying his name because he deserves all the credit that he can get. I've spent months with AJ Matthews working on my stand-up, working on my thug tie, and then I'm at elevation now and I'm training with some of the best guys. Gaethje's pushing me every day. I've got rounds and rounds and rounds with champions. And so I'm way more comfortable on my feet. Anybody that knows my wrestling knows that I was a problem on my feet, and on the ground I was okay, but on my feet I could go with the best guys in the world. And I think I've proven that clearly in MMA. But I'm way more than just a wrestler, and I think that people are going to start to see it the more comfortable that I get. But I am getting a lot comfortable in that cage. I think that time is the only thing that helps.
All right, and with that, we'll let Taiwan go, and we'll bring Jordan Main up next. All right, let's welcome Jordan Main to the virtual media day. And we'll take the first question from Steve Jewin. Your line is now live.
Jordan, thank you for the time. Congratulations on joining Bellator MMA. You've come off 2 wins in UFC, but you've also been off for 2 years. So what's been going on in that time leading to your Bellator debut?
Well, a couple knee surgeries, the COVID thing. What else? The knee surgeries really took some time, and then the negotiations, and then I wasn't really out of it, mentally or anything, but just the things that happened in my life as far as that. I had the meniscus surgery, and then about 7 weeks later, I jumped into a grappling tournament and blew it out again. So I had to start that over again. So that took some time. And then now got the offer, and now I'm here, excited, and a new chapter in my life.
So how long ago are you coming off that second surgery then? And how is the knee? Is it 100% now?
Yeah, it's 100%. They ended up taking out the meniscus. That was like my 3rd surgery on that knee, I believe. And they took it right out, so it was good. I had a bucket handle tear, so my leg, I could train with it, but it would just get locked up. And then they ended up taking that out. So now it's 100%. And it's been a while now. I don't know exactly how long, but I've been training full time and feeling good.
All right. And what kind of performance are you looking forward to on Friday night with Jason Jackson? A stand-up affair, wrestling? What do you see it being?
Ooh, I'm not too sure, but I just want to be, proud of myself for going out there and giving it my all and not holding back. I've had fights before where even you win, you're still holding back a bit, and you're disappointed in yourself, and I don't want that to happen.
Well, we don't want that either. So best of luck on Friday night. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
All right, our next question comes from Thomas Galdenzi. Your line is now live.
Hey, Jordan. Thomas Galdenzi with Combat Sports Coverage. And I was wondering, what brought you over to Bellator? Your last 2 UFC fights, you were coming off 2 UFC wins, and then now we see you in Bellator. I kind of wanted to see what brings you over here.
Mainly an opportunity. We were having some negotiations, and then my contract ran up, and it was more of like a recruitment thing, and my old man was talking with them, and just kind of all came together. And then the time that it took to do all that between then and now, and now we're here. So it was just mainly an opportunity that I jumped on.
And how are you feeling after those surgeries you just recently talked about? Plus, I was looking you up and everything, and you're only 30 years old. I forget, you're still a young guy. You have so much fights under your belt. A lot of people don't hit their prime until they're 30 years old, I would say. So how are you feeling right now at 30 heading into this big fight?
I feel great. I'm the strongest I've ever been, working back with my strength and conditioning coach that I was working with a few years ago. The strongest I've ever been, the most flexible I've ever been. Mental game, I feel strong. I feel confident. So everything's coming together, and it feels great. And I got the experience, and I'm ready to let it out there.
And Bellator announced about this fight card maybe about 2 to 3 weeks ago. But how long ago have you probably known about this fight?
This fight, I think it was. I'm not sure. I was supposed to fight Jason in May, and then all this popped off. But how long ago did we find out? I'm not even sure. A month, or maybe a month.
Well, awesome, Jordan. Thank you for some of your time, and good luck on your upcoming fight.
Thank you.
All right, our next question will go to Matthew Putterman. Your line is now live.
Hey, Jordan, this is Matthew Putterman from MMAnews.com. My first question is, what was the toughest fight of your career?
My toughest fight of my career was when I was 18 years old, 19 years old, and I went over to Australia, and I was there for vacation. I was living with my auntie at the time. I was there for 6 months. I started training at a gym called Riker's Gym in Australia, in South Australia, Adelaide. And they had a K1 fighter there named Paul Slawinski, and some top level fighters and trainers. And I started teaching there. They're like, hey, you want a job? You want to start teaching MMA? MMA at the time in Adelaide was actually illegal. They didn't even have it in the state. You had to go out of state to fight. So I was like, yeah, sure, I'll start teaching and do all that, and got a great opportunity there. And then they were like, hey, you want to go fight on the Gold Coast? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. And they asked me to fight this Aslan Magmedov, and he was in K1 Max. He had fought all the best guys. And I was like, yeah, absolutely, I'll fight this guy. And he just beat the piss out of me, kicked my legs so many times I couldn't walk. Both my hands, I think, were broken. But he was super nice. He gave me some advice after. He showed me what he was doing to my leg. But that was the toughest fight of my career for sure.
What is your definition of being a prize fighter? Is it about the belt? Is it about the money? Is it being about the best pound for pound fighter in the world? What is it to you?
To me, it's like I said before, it's about going in there and letting it all out and being proud of yourself, because when it's all over and you have that itch and you're just like, oh, I want to get back in there, that's what it's about. It has nothing really to do with the money. The money's nice, obviously, and this is how we make a living, and this is a great opportunity for me, especially in a time like this where we can get to compete and get to make some money. But in reality, it's about letting it all out there and being, proud of yourself at the end of the day, at the end of the night.
And my last question is for you. What motivates you more, coming off a loss or coming off of a win from a fighter's perspective? I asked all the guys before too.
Coming off a loss or coming off a win?
Yeah.
Oof. Winning, I get a lot of confidence from winning. Losses, when you fight, when I've had like 50 fights, so winning and losing, it becomes, you get the high of the winning, and then you get the low of the losing, and then eventually all that kind of goes away, and it's about showing up and putting in the work. It's not really about the win or the loss, really. It's about just that deep desire to compete, really.
That's all I got for you, my man. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next question goes to Joe McDonough. Your line is now live.
Jordan, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing good. How you doing?
I'm good. So at only 30 years old, you've had, I believe, 43 professional fights. You fought in the UFC, you fought in Strikeforce, now you're fighting on the co-main of Bellator. Do you feel like you still have anything to prove, or are you just doing this because, the love of the game and, chase the title?
I definitely have lots to prove. Yeah, new organization, I got to go out there and I got to prove something for sure. You can't just go out there and get a win. That's not enough. You can't just win. There has to be something that's impressive and big for everybody to watch.
Yep, and in this Bellator debut, you're the co-main, and it's also the first fight back for Bellator. How special is it to be on this card?
I've been so lucky my whole career getting on great cards, and this is just another proof of it. Being on the first one back, getting to have the co-main event spot. I feel like I belong there, and I can't wait to show it.
Awesome, man. Best of luck on Friday.
Thank you.
All right, next question goes to Brian Peters. Your line is now live.
Hi, Jordan. This is Brian Peters from All Access MMA. I just had a few quick questions. So obviously you've spent much of your recent professional career in the UFC. How does it feel making your Bellator debut? And what is different about Bellator than the UFC?
It's got the background's got like more of a family feel to it. Behind the scenes type of thing. I haven't really met Scott Coker. Even when I was with Strikeforce, I didn't really, get to know him, but I just love the way he operates and the way he does things. And to be a part of that is special, and it's fun. And I got treated great everywhere I've gone. I've been treated great. So I got no problems anywhere.
Awesome. And how do you see this fight going on Friday night?
I see it going. I think it's going to be exciting and entertaining. I plan on being exciting and tactical. So we'll see what Jason brings to the table and work with it.
Do you foresee a finish?
Do I foresee a finish? I don't really foresee anything when I'm talking about fighting, because fighting is like a nonverbal thing, and now we're talking about a nonverbal thing. So it's just, I could make something up and tell you, but I wouldn't even believe it myself. So.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate your honesty, and thanks for your time.
You bet.
All right, final two questions. We'll go to the line of Ben Keeley. Your line is now live.
Hi, Jordan. I'm just wondering, how do you think the lack of a crowd will play a factor in this fight? And is that something you have prepared for?
Yeah, I don't really know how to prepare for that, but yeah, that'll be interesting. I've fought on the street before with no crowds. I fought, I've had some gym wars, you're fighting people and there's no crowds. So that's kind of a thing. but to have a professional contest with no crowd, it'll be interesting, and I'm excited because you can hear both corners, and I could hear them anyway. I could hear the commentators and the corners with the crowd. I could always hear that. So I'm sure it'll be even more emphasized here, and it'll be interesting.
How has the COVID-19 lockdowns affected your preparation for this fight?
It hasn't really. I'm from Lethbridge, Alberta, and it's a small town, and it's nothing like here in the States. It's pretty easy going. I got into some calisthenics. I was following a guy on YouTube called Iron Wolf. He was into burpees, so I was rocking that out for a while. And then we got the team back together, started rocking it out, and we got a group of savages there. So it's been fun having everybody back.
And did you pick up any new hobbies or any new projects you're developing during the lockdown, or has it all been training?
I got into ping pong kind of hard, so that was kind of fun. Yeah, ping pong. That's where it's at for me the last little bit.
And one last one for me. How does you obviously had a very long career. You fought the who's who of people. How do you think Jason Jackson stacks up against the likes that you fought in the UFC and Strikeforce?
He stacks up great against all of them. He's a great opponent. He's a worthy opponent, and he's got a great camp too, and he's well schooled with a great coach. And he's clearly he's in there with the best too. I mean, so it's going to be a good challenge.
All right, thanks, Jordan.
Yeah, you bet.
All right, and our final question comes from the line of Andrew Benjamin. Your line is now live.
Hey, Jordan. Andrew with MMAsucker.com. My question for you is, so you've been in this game since 2006 as a pro, and I'm curious to know, tell us how your training has changed and adapted since you started your first day training in MMA till now.
It's mainly the blueprint in my head of the whole game. Will I ever get the whole game in my head? Probably not, but the pieces to the puzzle of my own game have been coming together. And just my understanding of the science, I can show up and do the art and just show up and show up and show up, but to get better is to consciously show up and put in the work that way. So I think that's where it's gone for me, is just understanding the science a bit more and getting the bigger picture, the blueprint, and studying. I've been studying a lot more, whether it be stand-up, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, whatever, but putting in work on that, taking notes.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, and with that, we'll let Jordan go, and Sergio Pettis will be joining us shortly. All right, we're now being joined by Sergio Pettis. We'll get these things kicked off with the question from Steve Jewin. Your line is now live.
Thank you. And Sergio, my question for you is that we've heard other people refer to this as a title eliminator fight, and it feels that way with the title currently being vacant in this division. But there's also some talk of Patrick Mix and Juan Archuleta fighting for the vacant titles. So how do you see the big picture? Where does this fight fit in?
I'm not really looking at that right now. All I'm focused on is Ricky Bandejas Friday. If it is a title eliminator, it is what it is. But that's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried about getting that W and putting on a show for this Friday.
All right. How do you see the fight going on Friday? What kind of fight do you expect?
No expectations for this fight. I'm gonna go out there and fight the way I fight, have some fun, get the job done. I'm expecting him to come at me hard. I got a target on my back. Always had a target on my back. So nothing different than what I'm used to, man. He's just gonna come out there, try to do what he does, and I'm gonna go out there and do what I do.
How satisfied were you with that win against Alfred Kashekian in your Bellator debut?
Oh man, I loved it. Honestly, I think that was my one of my best performances in my career. Honestly, got a good right hand on him and sunk in the guillotine. Had some moves set up for after if he got out. So everything just went well that night. I just trusted myself and trusted the mission and went out there and got the job done. Definitely riding some confidence.
All right. Well, I hope that confidence continues over to Friday. Have a good fight.
Appreciate it. You too, brother.
Thank you.
All right. Our next question goes to John Eric Pole. Your line is now live.
Hi, Sergio. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. How you doing?
Good, man. So I want to talk about this main event spot. It's something that's not new to you. I mean, you've done it in the UFC, but this is your first time doing it in the Bellator cage. So what's it like for you headlining within this promotion, and do you feel any more pressure being in this headlining spot than you usually would?
I don't feel any more pressure. You know, going into a fight, there's enough pressure. You got a guy that's going in there that's trying to knock your head off on TV in front of everybody. So all that extra stuff really doesn't matter to me. Very excited though. You know, this is my first main event in Bellator, so it's cool to have on my resume, and I'm excited to go out there and put on a show for everybody. First fight back in Bellator, so I'm gonna go out there and put on a COVID show.
Yeah, and speaking of COVID, I wanted to ask you too about what was it like for your training camp with all the stuff going on? Was it affected at all, given maybe some of the new stipulations that are now in place due to COVID-19?
Yeah, in the beginning, you know, obviously the gym was shut down for a bit, but it just made me have to open up a basement gym. So, you know, I got my gym looking all good. I got a sauna down there, got some bags down there, ran. But once that passed, my brother Anthony got a fight for Donald Cerrone. So we had to get back in the gym and get a small group of guys together that were all clean and COVID free, and just, you know, had to keep on working and grinding. So, and I've been in camp for a while without a fight prepping. And then I found out I had a fight. So it was perfect. I was ready for it.
And what do you see in Ricky as an opponent? What is something that maybe he might bring to you that might stylistically be a problem? Or are you comfortable pretty much wherever this goes that you don't see him as a threat?
I mean, he is a threat. Anybody you fight is a threat. You know, any time you get into that cage that there's a 50% chance of losing, you know, keeping it standing especially. I believe Ricky is a good stand-up fighter. He's good all around. You know, he's got some good takedown defense. He's a good grappler. He's skilled. You know, he's not no scrub. He's gonna go out there and try to get the job done. But you know, I've been in this game for a while. You know, this is I think my 9th year of a professional fighter at the age of 26, going into 27. So, you know, I think I'm ready for it all. You know, I've seen a lot of big names and I've fought a lot of good guys and a lot of different heights, a lot of shorter heights. You know, I fought a wide range of people. So wherever it goes out there, man, I'm just gonna go out there and do what I do best, keep a smile on my face, have some fun. Try to come home with a pocket full of cash, some Nate Diaz stuff.
And Sergio, the last thing for me, man, you know, you were off a little while with this whole COVID thing. Everybody was. You guys are just finally getting back into action. God willing that you get out of there, no problems. How active do you want to be for the rest of the year?
You know, as active as I can be. You know, God willing that I don't have any injuries from this fight or after this fight. Whatever happens, happens. Like I said, I'm 26, going into 27. I want to take advantage of my age, and my body's feeling well. My mind's feeling well. Spiritually, I feel well. Everything's balanced. So whenever they want me to get back in there, whenever my body allows me to get back in there, I'll be ready.
All right, man. Thanks. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it, bro. Have a good one.
Our next question comes from the line of Daniel Yanofsky. Your line is now live.
Hey, Sergio. How are you doing today?
Doing good, brother. How you doing?
Not bad. I appreciate you taking the time. When it comes to the overall timing of your fights, you last fought not that long ago before the January fight, and Bandejas had a little time in between. Seeing how the COVID-19 pandemic has caused a rift between training and timing between fights, do you think that'll play a factor in both of your performances?
No, we're both professional fighters, man. We're ready for when we got to fight. You know, it doesn't matter how much time is in between. I've had some long layoffs where I was injured too, and after those layoffs, I came back and had a good performance. So it's just a matter of who's the better man on Friday night for those 15 minutes.
Appreciate it.
All right, our next question comes from Brian Peters. Your line is now live.
Hey, Sergio. I'm Brian Peters from All Access MMA. I just got a quick question. How do you feel as a bantamweight? Do you feel healthier making weight? Does it make a difference on fight night?
You know what? I do feel a lot healthier. I was cutting down to 126, and I feel like as I'm getting older, the harder that weight cut would have been. You know, my body's making a lot of adjustments. I feel like I'm getting a little bit bigger, a little bit wider. I wish a little bit taller, but that didn't happen. But nah, man, it's been good. I think all that I've learned from 125, as far as being strict on my diet, as far as being strict on my training camp and discipline throughout the whole camp, has helped me out with these 135 cuts. Made them a lot easier. You know, I'm only 2 pounds away. I got energy. I've been eating. I've been drinking. So, you know, I'm ready to go sweat this weight off, make weight tomorrow, and put on a show.
Awesome. Thank you, Sergio. I appreciate your time.
Appreciate you, man. Have a good one.
Our next question comes from the line of Matthew Putterman. Your line is now live.
Okay.
What's up, Sergio? This is Matthew Putterman from MMA.
Putterman, okay,
What's
I know
up,
you.
man? How you doing?
Chilling, brother. How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for joining us. And my first question is to you is, what's your biggest attribute as a fighter?
Biggest attribute as a fighter. That's a good question. I think it's just my level of dedication. I don't consider myself a fighter. I consider myself a martial artist. I've been doing this my whole life, and this is my passion. Something that I enjoy doing every day, and it doesn't get boring. It doesn't get tiring. It just keeps on getting better and better. And I love evolving as an athlete and as a martial artist and as a human being. And I felt this sport gave me the chance to do that.
Definitely. And one question I want to ask you too is, what is your definition of being a prize fighter? Is it about the belt, the money, being the best pound for pound fighter in the world? What does it mean to you?
I think being a prize fighter has a lot of meanings, like you said, it does, the money and all that stuff, but I'm not really into that. I think just being a prize fighter in life, just being able to enjoy my life regardless of the situations. You learn a lot in this fight game, the ups and downs, the stuff you go through is very similar to in life. You go through those good times, those bad times, and you just got to keep fighting through and keep on chasing whatever it is you're chasing. For me, it's just being the best I can be, better than who I was yesterday. And I feel like that's what's the prize of all this, is just becoming better and better.
Definitely. Are you a religious guy at all?
For sure, man. I grew up, I was just thinking about that. And I grew up having my mom singing, having my mom sing songs in bed and be scared at night, and she'd be praising God and stuff like that. And yeah, I grew up in the church. I grew up in the Catholic Church, and eventually went to Christian. So yeah, man, I would say I'm very religious. I'm not very religious. There's times where I have my ups and downs with my relationship with Jesus and with God in general. So I do believe, like I said, the sport brought me a lot closer to all that spiritual side, and I just feel like it was meant for me to be this way, meant for me to find the sport and to get me closer to my faith.
Amen to that. And my last question is to you. I may have asked you this before, but what motivates you more, coming off a loss or coming off of a win?
Those are both two different motivations. Coming off a loss is scary. When you come off a loss, you're motivated to obviously win, but there's always the negative thoughts in your head and all that. But I feel like those times teach you more than the wins. The wins, obviously you're like, yeah, I got that dub, I got that, that confidence. And me is, I've lost 5 times already, so I use those past experiences to never feel that way when I get the W. I still feel like I always got something to prove, or I feel like my back's always against the wall regardless, so I could keep on performing good.
Awesome. That's all I got for you, my man. Thank you very much.
Matt, nice to hear from you, bro. Much love.
All right, we'll keep this rolling with Ben Kiley. Your line is now live.
Hi, Sergio. Just wondering who's going to be in your corner on Friday?
My corner is going to be my brother Anthony Pettis, of course, and Duke Rufus. It's kind of like my first fight, man. My first pro fight, I had Duke and Anthony in my corner, so I felt like it was just necessary just to have those two in my corner and come out there. And I'm still here with who I started with, so I love it.
And just wondering, have you developed any new hobbies, or are you doing any new projects since the COVID-19 lockdowns began?
Nah, man, my life has been quarantined, honestly. I'm in a relationship. I don't leave my house much besides to train, go grocery shopping, fishing, hiking, chilling with my dog, at home a lot. So nothing's really new besides I got to wear these masks every day and stuff. But yeah, man, my life's pretty much like this in general.
And this fight will be a bit different in that there will be no crowd. How do you expect that to play a factor in the fight? And is there any preparation you can do for something like that?
I believe I'm a professional, man. I don't think it matters who's there and who's not there. When I'm in the cage in general, I'm not worried about the crowd. Obviously you could hear all that stuff, but I'm just more focused on my goal and my mission, and that's Ricky Bandejas.
And in terms of long-term goals, do you think about that, or is it just the next opponent is your focus, or do you have like a legacy you want to leave behind in the sport?
Yeah, I feel like my legacy is always my next opponent. Obviously I got long-term goals. I do want a belt eventually. I want to fight the best of the best and prove I am one of the best in this sport. But, as of right now, my short-term goals are more important. Just getting the job done. All I'm focused on right now is Friday night, 15 minutes for Ricky Bandejas.
Okay, thank you, Sergio.
Appreciate it, bro.
All right, our next question comes from the line of Thomas Galdenzi. Your line is now live.
Hey, Sergio, it's Thomas Galdenzi with Combat Sports Coverage. I got to know, how do you feel about Bellator being able to keep you busy right now during this pandemic when a lot of people, can't find work or have fights right now, but you are lucky enough to be the main event on such a stacked card?
Yeah, man, I'm extremely blessed. I'm so happy that Bellator is back. Obviously, I'm a guy who likes to stay active. I fought in January, and I got a quick turnaround in July through this COVID. It sucks to see people losing their jobs and, going through hard times. And I'm very blessed, man. So just very grateful to have this opportunity. Big thank you to Bellator for giving me this opportunity to have a main event on their first card back. And I promise I'm going to deliver a good fight.
And since this fight was for at least the media and since everybody's known about the fight, it's only been a few weeks. How much weeks have you known about this fight, and did it at all affect your weight cut?
Yeah, I've knew about this fight for about 5 weeks now. So before that, I was in training camp every day. I live a lifestyle of training. I don't leave the gym much. I'm there constantly. So nothing's different, man. And at 5 weeks, I still stayed strict on my diet. My weight cut's amazing. I got 2 pounds to go. Tomorrow I'll wake up on weight with not too much work tonight. Very, very dedicated and very strict on myself. So nothing new for me, brother.
Well, thank you for some time, and I look forward to your fight.
Thank you, man. Have a good one.
Our next question comes from the line of Steven Morocco. Your line is now live.
Sergio, do you think Bellator should have a flyweight division?
Nope, because I don't want to cut that weight. No, I'm just playing. I think it would be awesome to have a flyweight division. There's a lot of talent at the 125 division outside of the UFC that definitely could use a showcase in Bellator. Promotion's growing, so I think eventually it's just a matter of time before they do get a flyweight division and have it popping. I'm a big flyweight fan. I was in the flyweight division for a while, and we didn't get as much love as we deserved, but we put on some good fights. So, you guys just saw the last 125 fight, man. That shit was crazy. Good fight, So it's just a matter of time before Bellator does get that.
By the way, do you think that win from Davison, do you think that's good for the division? Do you think that helps it? What do you think the long-term effects, if anything, are going to be with a win like that?
I feel like I really don't need to answer that question. I'm no longer in that business category, and whatever happens, and I'll be happy for the flyweight division regardless. But I think it was a good win for Davison Figueroa. That was amazing how he went out there and got the job done on such a tough opponent. I fought Joseph Benavidez. I know how tough he is to put away, and he just went out there and got that job done so clean and so mean. So that was beautiful.
Would you make that cut again for a belt and to have two belts?
For who?
For Bellator, if they put hypothetically, if they did a flyweight division, they put up a belt, would you compete? Would you make that weight cut again to become a two champ?
Yeah, man, I can make that weight easy. I'm making this 135 cut easy too. But if that is an opportunity that does present itself, why not? I'd love to be a double champ. But first, right now, I got to stay focused on my mission at 135. Whatever happens in the future will happen. I'm not worried about that. I'm a present guy.
Thanks, Sergio.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right, our next question comes from Brian Peters. Your line is now live.
Hey, Sergio, it's Brian Peters again from All Access MMA. Just another quick question. Do you feel that if you win this fight, you deserve to fight for the vacant title in your next fight?
I'm not the one who decides that. So whatever the bosses think of me and what they want me to do, I'll do next. Right now, I'm not focused on that. I'm focused on Ricky Bandejas for 15 minutes Friday night. Make sure you guys tune in on Paramount.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks for your time again.
Appreciate you, brother.
All right, and our final question comes from the line of Andrew Benjamin. Your line is now live.
Hey, Sergio. Thank you for taking the questions. This is Andrew with MMAsucker.com. I'm just curious to know, do you have any, your brother has fought in 3 weight classes. I'm curious to know, would you have any interest in going up to featherweight at all in Bellator?
Man, I've been eating a lot of tacos outside of camp, so I don't know. Whatever happens, happens. But no, I don't know, man. These 45 guys are big. I do get up in weight sometimes, when I'm not strict on my diet. But we'll see as I keep aging how my body deals with the weight cuts and to see how much my body changes. So, no expectations. We'll see. I'm not really worried about that.
And you said that you've gotten bigger during training this year. Are you doing a lot more strength training during the pandemic as a result of the gym being closed? Or was this just something that you decided you wanted to refocus on, was getting bigger for this weight class?
Yeah, I feel like I am a bigger guy. Even at 125, I was one of the bigger guys at 125. I walk around a lot heavier than what I was fighting at 125. So, even with the whole COVID thing, obviously I couldn't go to the gyms to lift or anything. I just stay focused on my regimen, man. I feel like I have good strength. still worked on my personal strength and conditioning, my cardio, a lot of my speed. You know, I think that helps me out a lot in this division, how fast I am, and my cardio in general. So, nah, man, you know, after this fight, I do hopefully put on some size, and I'm definitely excited to go back and get some good food and some tacos and some burritos and some pizza and some ice cream and some cookies and some chicken and all of that. So, whatever, man, whatever happens, happens. If I put on some size, it'd be good.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for your time.
I appreciate you, bro.
All right, and with that, we're going to wrap this up with Sergio. Thank you very much for your time, Sergio, and thank you all for joining us today. Just a reminder, Bellator 242 goes down this Friday, live on the Paramount Network at 10 p.m. Eastern, and we'll simulcast live on the DAZN streaming platform. Appreciate your time, everybody. Have a good day.